Dolibarr is one of those ERP systems which get things done for you, and it doesn't cost you any money to install Dolibarr or create any number of licenses. That makes it a very big plus for all the SMEs. And I am particularly hoping that the SMEs which are in the architecture, engineering, construction, and operations industry will look into this seriously. Now, Dolibarr is free, but there are some of the configurations that still happen because we still have to install it. And this is going to happen irrespective of the ERP system you use. It may be a paid ERP system. It may be one where somebody might have set up a ERP system for your organization. You might have paid them to develop it. But in any case, all of these are going to be common. Now, let's have a few assumptions. The Dolibarr instance has been installed on a server which was prepared for it, and you have also got the admin account with you. So once you get the admin account, you need to set up the organization. So when I say you have to set up the organization, things like the organization name and some of the organization's email account for the minimum, and probably the addresses, the currency used, the tax structure. These are all things which depend entirely on your organization. So you might have to get your people in place to fill up the details about the organization. And after that, you need to configure the email system. So essentially what happens is you need to tell how the email is going to be sent. And once you do that, you can add users. When you add users, now the email will be sent to the users directly. Finally, you have to configure the different modules. There are many modules which are there in the system. You need to choose the module which you want. And once you activate that module, you can go and do the changes. Now, without any delay, let's go ahead. So you got your admin account, you're logged in, and this is the screen you will see. If you notice, there are two warning triangles which are there on the left hand side. So they tell you that these are aspects which you need to look into. So let's go ahead with the first one, the company or organization. So you need to set up the organization. Currently, I'm just going to add the email of the organization because I am going to use this whenever I'm going to send email to other people, maybe internal users, it may be external associates or third parties also. Now, once we do that, the basic organization setup is done. You can go through the different fields and populate them as you feel fit. After you do the organization, we go for the users. So again, you can click the add user, or like you can go for the new user and then do it, or you can also edit the users who are already there. So in our case, we have got the super admin. If you look at the super admin account, all the fields are great. In fact, all the fields will be great for any user you take till you press the modify button. And if you see, you can disable a user. That means they'll not be able to log in and other things. And here we can also send email to that person about any aspect which you'd like to communicate directly with that user. Now here again, you'll have the regular things like the name and also the title, date of birth, and other details. Whatever you want to add, you add. But very importantly, please add the email ID. In our case, for the super admin account, I just created the email ID, nothing else. Now, if you want to create a new user, simple, just go and click new user and then fill out the forms, and then you can send the email, or you can generate an email and send it as an email, send it as a email across to people, or you can probably call them and give the credentials to that person directly. Remember, there are something called groups, and you can give a group certain permissions. So if you associate a person with the group, that person will be able to do all the works related to that group. And also, when you add modules, you will need to look at who has access to the different aspects of the module. You don't want somebody to go to HR and add a user or delete somebody because they don't like or increase their salary. So we will have to give the proper hierarchy and roles and responsibilities in the ERP system. This is very important. Now, once you have done this, it's the basic work which you're doing, adding information about the organization, adding users to the organization, and preventing their access to the system. So once we do this, we are getting a hang of the organization at large. So you'll also find that you will have to give link between who reports to whom. So these are things which are very intuitive, and I'm sure that if you look at it for a little while, you'll be able to do that. Now going forward, we are having the configuration of email. So if you look at the left side, one of the things will be the menu which reads email. So that was the first part. So when you go into the email, please choose SMTP or SMTPS. I'm not going into the technicalities of the other options because it's just not important for the persons who are setting it up. However, you'll find that there are many kinds of features which are available. So it's very flexible, and your IT guy will be able to help you better. Now, if you look at this, I'm using purely email services for the SMTP part, but you may be having the Google Workspace or Microsoft. So you will need to change the server details in the system. So here we have the SMTP ID, which in my case is nothing but the username or the email ID, and you add the password. The password we use for logging into the system. So once you do that, you will also have to give the security. All of these will be available in the portal of your email provider or the SMTP provider. In this case, I'm using Start TLS, and I have to use port 587. Now, once you do that, please go down. There's something called sender email. This is a very important step. Today, to bypass spam, all the major email services, Gmail, Yahoo Mail, Microsoft's Live, have all set some standards. And one of the things is they want to ensure that your from address and reply to address match. This is so that a person doesn't have a scam where you pretend to be somebody else and send a mail and all that kind of things. But at any rate, if you're going to have a different from and a reply to address, the mail delivery is going to be a big question. So please let it be as such. Although you can also have the option of allowing a user to send email by themselves, as their own person. I strongly recommend that you don't do that, for the simple reason that you will not have the same reply to address. And there are other niceties also. If you use a pure SMTP service, you might be able to successfully use send as user email. However, in my personal view, at the beginning, it's better that you just let the organization mail be the one from which you send emails across. Moving on, you should also remember that free email sources from Gmail and other things, they have stopped providing the SMTP access. So you will need to go for a paid account for sending the emails. Now, you're given the server details. We can see whether the server is responding to a call. So this is the test server connectivity. So once you do that, it will give a response, and when it says that it's successful, great. So once you are able to do that, it means there is a server. Whatever information you given is right, but it doesn't mean that mail is getting sent. So for that, use the test email, and I prefer the HTML mail, which is the one which looks nicer and better. And here what I did was I changed the from address and the to address. In other words, from was different, from and a reply to address. So this caused my mail to get rejected. This could happen to you also. Now moving onward, when everything is okay, that means the from address and the reply to address are the same, and the credentials are okay, that means the SMTP ID and the password, then you are able to send the mail across. And this is probably the biggest hurdle in setting up the system, because once you configure the email, once you add a user and other things, you'll find that you are able to send mail across. You are able to send invoice to your people with whom you are doing business, to your customers. You are able to communicate a lot of information because you are able to automate the email process. So for example, approval of a leave for your employee and all these things can be done. And the best part is you can change the default wordings by modifying the email templates. Now we have seen the essentials. We've seen how to configure the server. We've seen how to configure the email address or the email servers. We are also having the we have also seen how we can do the create the new users. It's all a very simple and very easy, fast process. Here are the modules which are available. So by default, you'll find that there is the HRM module where you can have all the leaves. In fact, it's an end-to-end cycle right from the time a person is joining, from the time you make an ad in the newspaper to the way they fill up the application. All this process is fully taken care of in Dolibarr by default out of the box. Then you got a customer relationship management where you can deal with your customers and third parties. And of course, there is the vendor management system also. So you just need to pre-qualify your vendor, whatever you need. It's literally available. All you have to do is configure it to your requirement. Then you got the finance module where you talk about the financial status. In fact, you can also link it to your bank account if your bank gives the APIs, and you can give the products. And also all like the MRP, the manufacturer resource planning, everything is available over here. So right from having a concrete batching machine or whatever you want, you'll find that you can work with this. In fact, the module is very powerful. You can also set up warehouses, so you know where material is. And for a construction company, you can even set up your own site as a warehouse. So material is being moved from site A to site B is nothing but moving material from warehouse A to warehouse B. So you just have to use your imagination, and yeah, you're there. And you got an electronic document management system. And if you are interested in integrating Stripe and other such payment gateways, there it is out of the box. All you have to do is click the small switch, any one of the small switches which are available, and you'll be able to activate that module. It's that simple. So I am just logging out at this point in time. This will be your login screen. You can log in with your admin credentials. You get into the system, configure the organization. You can reconfigure at any point in time, add users, give them roles, and you will need to add the different modules. Ideally, use only the modules which you need, and add the people's roles and responsibilities to different levels. So that's about it. And I wish you all the best in your work with Dolibarr. Bye for now.